when it's all said and done, they're going to build over 300 homes in the inlet. That's a national developer. We also have the Kushner family. That project has been controversial here in the great city of Atlantic City since 2004. The development is happening under the small administration. Another 180 units. We have units all around the city. We have people that want to come in here and do affordable housing. The Lieutenant Governor's nephew is developing affordable housing on South Carolina Avenue. So there's going to be a lot of housing upgrades for each and every one in the city.
Thank you. And so we have a couple of questions from the audience, and I thank you, audience member, for putting these questions out. So it says, the first question says, where does the casino money go, and why don't we get any of the allotments?
Well, the casinos pay our taxes via the pilot. Each of the casinos put their money in the pot, and it helps bring the city's debt down. CRDA money that was going to marketing helps pay the city's debt. And when you look at what's going on with the casino, with all the various fundings, that's why I supported the pilot, because in addition to getting that pilot payment, we're getting clean and safe money, we're getting infrastructure money that we can use for projects that don't cost the taxpayers. Can the casinos do more? Absolutely. I wrote an op-ed that was picked up by the New York Daily News to talk about New York beware if you put all of your eggs in the casino basket. We know here in Atlantic City, the casinos are doing fine this summer, and it's been an improvement. But on the government side, we want to keep putting the people first and continue to work with our state partners such as the casinos, CRDA, and more to make this a better community.
Thank you. Thank you. And, this question, something that I'm passionate about, which is social determinants of health, the things that people need in order to live and have a good life expectancy. A concept that people are talking more about is transportation. A lot of people think that transportation is the key to life expectancy, because if you get to your doctor's appointment, if you get to a grocery store, if you get somewhere, these things will be attributed to your life expectancy. So the question for you here is, how do you feel about the transportation options currently in Atlantic City? And can all of our residents affordably get where they need to go? And if not, what can we do to either enhance the transportation or create more options of transportation?
Well, that's a double-edged sword, because if you're talking about personalized transportation, the city isn't in the, quote, personal transportation business. We have nothing to do with New Jersey Transit. We have nothing to do with the New Jersey Transit, with the trains. The jitneys are private. The buses are private. What we do, what we control, we've invested in transportation. A former mayor sent all of the transportation to the county and left the city with aging buses, and we couldn't go nowhere if you rolled the dice if you wanted to go to Valley, just to speak. Under the small administration, we used other people's money. A lot of people that don't mean Atlantic City no good, that don't understand the culture, don't understand our people, thought it was robbery that we got a luxury charter bus. Why not? Our residents deserve that. If you ask any senior citizen or any youth that participates in our program, it has made a major difference. So under my administration, we got a luxury 56-passenger charter bus. We got 2 54-passenger school buses. We got 2 Sprinter vans and a 20-passenger minibus with a handicap lift. So we're doing our part with what we can do with the government programs, and the county handles the private transportation, such as the doctor's appointments, etc.
Thank you. And you all can clap. I think I scared y'all when I said you were rallying last time. I think I scared everybody. You can clap. I just was saying, don't get too excited. Now, this is a question I've been waiting for, and I did not write this down, but this is a question that they have for you. If President Trump decides to send troops to Atlantic City, how or what do you agree with, and what would you do?
Well, I think it's simple. And that's the difference versus me and my opponent here who didn't show up. I know what the people want. I know what the people need. I'm a proven fighter. I took on Governor Christie and Steve Sweeney when a lot of people sat on the sidelines. I know how to fight. We fought to keep the water in the MUA's hands. So I'm only going to do what I've always done, and don't forget, like I said about my last opponent, when they tried to take over the city and have an emergency manager, a municipal manager, run the government and make all the decisions, it was Marty Small who was on the front line. So whether it's Donald Trump, Donald Duck, or whomever, if somebody is against the great city of Atlantic City, Mayor Marty Small, in the words of the chairman, Al Bailey, I'm going to be row one, seat one. Bring it on.
And our final question before we allow you to wrap up with any comments you want to share is, if reelected, what 3 steps would you take to put our city on a firmer financial footing?
Well, listen, it's simple. When I'm reelected, we're going to do the same things that we've done and more. Under the Small administration, we specialize in spending other people's money. That's how we've been able to do all the things that we've done. Because I say each and every day that relationships matter. Life is the relationship. We can go to the federal government, the state government, the county government, anybody that's giving money away. And it's most important, anybody can give you money, but can you execute the plan? That's why I sit back and laugh. All of these people talk about, well, when is this street getting done? Why is this not done? I tell the same story all the time. My son thinks that my street should be paved. That small alley street, Presbyterian Avenue, I live on. It don't work that way. We have a schedule, we have a plan, and we're sticking to it. And I want to tell the people here at the NAACP, not only the aforementioned streets such as MLK, Atlantic, will be improved tomorrow, but we're going to get money from the state to pave the entire Pacific Avenue, the entire Baltic Avenue, and the entire Arctic Avenue, because Mayor Small fights the good fight, and I'm going to get everything that the people of Atlantic City deserve, because you deserve it.
So I'm going to break my own rule here, because you answered this first part of this question. I forgot to ask it. It's what neighborhood do you live in? You just told us what neighborhood you lived in, because your son wants that street paved. But this is a question. I hope I don't get you in hot water. It says, where are your favorite places to spend time in Atlantic City?
My favorite places to spend time outside of home. Because a lot of people don't know, and my Aunt Gloria's back there, she'll tell you I'm really quiet, like at home. I'm a homebody unless I need to be live living outside. But it's no favorite place in Atlantic City. I love this community from wards 1 to 6, from Maine to Jackson, and every neighborhood in between. I spend my money local all the time. And like I said, there's no better place to live. And it is my job as mayor to promote that, to bring investment here. If I'm going to tell people that they should live and stay here in Atlantic City, because I say it all the time. I'm Atlantic City born, I'm Atlantic City bred, and when I die, I'll be Atlantic City dead. And we know we're talking about the big developers. But in order to do that, charity starts at home. That's why, and we're waiting for phase 2 to start by the end of the year of the Mayor Marty Small housing lot, where we created 4 new homeowners in Venice Park. And they have to have skin in the game. They have to commit to living in the great city of Atlantic City for 15 years. And we're going to continue to do things like that to put our money where our mouth is.
Thank you. It's a great way to answer a trick question. That was a trick. You did it great. All right.
And that's a trick.
All right, so we're going to conclude with giving you, because our other opponent's not here, so we'll give you 2 minutes.
I thought y'all said I had a half an hour. I'm just getting warmed up.
I'm just getting warmed up too.
Man, we got to listen to the people, man. Y'all want a half an hour?
We know you already.
They said they know you already. So if it's okay, if you don't mind giving us 2 minutes of just closing us out on what your vision is, your thoughts, anything you'd like to share, and then we thank you for your time today.
All right, and in all seriousness, thank each and every one of you for coming out here. The weather's pretty bad, but I just want to say to you, it just goes to show the disrespect when an organization, be it the NAACP or anyone else, invites you out to speak, to share your platform, and you don't show up. Now, we all know that emergencies happen, people have things planned, but if you're a serious candidate, you got to face the people, whether you think they're on your side or not. I know my best time is when I go on the Lions Den. I don't like it. I love it. But at the end of the day, I'm always going to be respectful. And one thing you know about me, I'm going to tell you how I feel. You never have to worry about where I'm coming from because I say what I mean and I mean what I say. And that's how we govern here in the great city of Atlantic City, supporting the people, being out in the community. This guy don't even live here. And you want to show up and say that you've been living in the city for 2 years and you want to be mayor and you can't come face the music? I think that says a lot. So I'm asking you, I believe that I've done a great job because the people tell me. I'm not perfect, never claimed to be, but I told you when I took the job that my heart and effort will be perfect for the residents of Atlantic City. And I think I've done that in a big way. And we still got work to do. And I tell people all the time, please be patient with me in the great city of Atlantic City. God is not through with us yet. And I really, really mean that. This is a great time in Atlantic City. When we look back on the history books, this era is going to be a turning point where we got things right. For the first time in a long time, the mayor's office is investing in human capital. We are providing opportunities for people who would never get an opportunity. Look at City Hall. Look at the changes that are made. Look at the people that you see in your neighborhood, in your community, or people that you mentored when they were younger. They are all there helping govern the great city of Atlantic City. No one else can say that. People can come in here and say, oh, the streets is dirty. The streets are not paved. But those are the same people that was against the road diet and sided with the stakeholders when they sued the city to hold up the project. We all know Atlantic Avenue would have been done 2 years ago. So yeah, I'm passionate about that. But now we're getting it done. It's about time. No. When the funding is allowed, that's when it's time. So everything that I said and more, the things that we do for taxpayers, the things that we do for youth and seniors, how we're making improvements with the police department, clean and safe, the infrastructure, anti-violence, re-entry, and more. These are the things that I'm going to continue to do each and every day to make Atlantic City better. And I can tell you this. On October 3rd will be 6 years since I've been mayor of Atlantic City. Ask yourself, is Atlantic City in better hands today than it was 6 years ago? I'm the most qualified candidate. I'm the most experienced candidate. You know me. I'm battle tested. I'm not going to fold when problems come. I'm dealing with my own personal issues, and I thank many of you for your concerns and prayers for me, my wife, and Mandy. But that doesn't stop me from doing the job. I show up each and every day, and if you didn't see a headline or some biased blogless article, you would never know what I'm going through. But I got a job to do. And at the end of the day, I know that I serve and worship an awesome God, and he has my back. So at the end of the day, please vote for me. Vote Democrat, column B, School Board 123. That is vote Mayor Marty Small Sr., the entire column B, all of our candidates at the top of the ticket, Mikey Sherrill, and more importantly, City Council, Pat Bailey, Stephanie Marshall, Suel Ahmed, B8, 9, and 10, School Board 123. I'm B7. I'm Mayor Marty Small Sr., and I approve this message. And one more time, can we say real good?
Everything happened very, very small. Appreciate you, sir. And I want to also reiterate what Councilman Shabazz, President Shabazz said as well. We have reached out to every candidate, Republican and Democrat, and they did reach out to myself as well, communicated that they wanted to be here, but they had another obligation, but they are trying to work with the NAACP to create other opportunities to be heard as well, and for them to have us to listen to their vision and mission. So, thank you again, Mayor Small. So we're moving on to our assembly candidates, and I believe our next facilitator, Mr. McQueen, is coming up to join us for questions.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. name is John McQueen, and I'm looking for Miss Maureen Rowan and Miss Joanne Famaro. Alrighty, good evening and welcome. To our candidates, I'll just get right to the point with our first question. Are you familiar with the various laws and regulations that apply to municipal governments?
Is this working? Yes. First of all, good evening. My name is Maureen Rowan, and thank you very much for having us here. I am not going to purport to know all the municipal laws governing Atlantic City and the other municipalities, but I am a retired lawyer. I know where to find the laws. I am more familiar with the state laws. Our position is a state office, and I'm more familiar at this point with state laws. If there's any law in particular you would like to ask me about, I'd be happy to answer.
No, just a general knowledge of.
I have a general knowledge, yes.
My name is Joanne. My name is Joanne. Maybe. Can I hear you? Yeah, that's it. My name is Joanne Famularo. I would like to thank the NAACP for having this tonight. This is why people march out in the street. This is what democracy is about. We need to be here. We need to listen to each other. We need to get answers to our questions and, make informed decisions. I am familiar with some of the municipal government because I do sit on the city council in the city of Pleasantville, so I am familiar with a certain amount, but there are cities that deal with, one aspect more than another city would, so it just kind of depends. I also know school board law because I sat on the school board in Pleasantville for 6 years, so I'm familiar with municipal law, but not everything.
While you have the mic, how do you stay informed about current events and issues affecting your community?
Well, I'm very in tune to my community. People know how to reach me. Before I came here tonight, I had a constituent email me about an issue that she was having. Well, it happens that last night the council voted to take her up on her problems that she had, and it had to do with property taxes and that she was a disabled veteran. So we put those things in place that it helped with her taxes and it alleviated most of her taxes, and she was looking for a refund. And that's what we did last night. So I was able to call her up, speak to her, and give her the good news that her refund would be coming. So I am just, I know a lot of the people in Pleasantville. I'm very in tune with keeping up with them, and I'm active in the community. So everybody knows where I am.
Thank you. Ms. Cohen, after you answer this question, I made a mistake. Brother Mike, I didn't give him their opening remarks. So after you answer this question, then each of you have your opening remarks.
All right. As I indicated, I am a retired lawyer. So when I was actively practicing as a trial lawyer, my job, it was very important to research issues, make I had a full and complete understanding of the case that I was handling. And I have familiarized myself with the local and state issues using the same type of formula. I research, I read, I go out into the community. I look at the Atlantic City Press a lot. That's a wealth of information on local issues. but I research, and if there's something that I don't understand or haven't seen before, I do a deeper dive to make sure I have as many answers as possible. Do you want me to introduce myself now?
Yes, you may.
Okay. Again, my name is Maureen Rowan, and again, thank you so much for having us here tonight. I am a resident of Atlantic City. I've been here almost 6 years. I chose Atlantic City to be my home. I have every intention of Atlantic City being my home for the rest of my life, which hopefully will be a long one. I love Atlantic City. I think it is just a beautiful, wonderful place to live. As indicated, I'm a retired lawyer. I was a trial lawyer. Although I have retired from the active practice of law, I also serve as a mediator on a volunteer basis for the courts. So I decided when I was approached about running for office,
an excellent day for what is fair and right for the people of Atlantic County. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you. And now I relinquish the mic to our next facilitator, Dr. Zion.
Good evening, everyone. Our next session is for our City Council. We have Mr. Ron Bailey, Ms. Pat Bailey, Ms. Stephanie Marshall, Syed Kausar, Lisa Klassman, and Muhammad Ahmed. So if you are present, please come up at this.
Gospel 88.7 WEHA. It's more than music. It's ministry.
Experience also as the general bookkeeper for the procedures that are needed in the schools.
So she's ready. I hold a master's in administration as well as a bachelor's in administration. I also spent the last 13 years, most of the last 13 years as president of the Lansing School Board, which I had the opportunity to build two brand new schools, Pennsylvania Avenue School and Richmond Avenue School. I oversaw both of those, again, with the wonderful budgets that people like Ms. Marshall put together with you. Going to the polls and voting for bond issues that allowed us to build those new schools. So I have quite a bit of experience as a servant, a resident of Atlantic City, whether it be from the Atlantic City School Board as a president, whether it be from the MUA, Municipal Utilities Authority, president of the Atlantic City Free Public Library. I have had access to learning from some great people, some still alive, some not, as to how to be a leader for a community, as well as how to be a servant for a community. So those are my experiences.
Thank you. Our next question. How would you ensure that the needs of all citizens are represented on the City Council? I heard a so I'll say it again. How would you ensure that the needs of all citizens are represented on the city council? How would you guys like to go? Is it okay to go with you, Ms. Taylor? Okay.
I happen to be retired, and I live on the corner of New Jersey Avenue and Buffalo Park. And how would I answer that question? Is being available, being reachable, touchable. During my years of service with the school board, I went to, along with some wonderful people who were on the board with me, every graduation, every step up. I've been in this building so many times, watching the 8th graders step up, watching the kindergarten kids step up, being a part of touching parents and children right here in Atlantic City. So one of the reasons way I can answer that question is to be touchable, to be accessible, to be from the whole 48 blocks, as the mayor just said, accessible to all. During the time we were running for the primary, we had an opportunity to go places I had never been. When I say places I've never been, some of the high-rises and stuff in the 5th and 6th ward, they well received us, wanted to hear what we had to say, and I felt comfortable with that. So again, whether it be the first 4 wards or all 6 wards, being accessible so that I can hear their concerns and take those concerns back to City Council. That's my answer.
Being accessible and listening, attending the civic associations. I live in the first ward. I attend the first ward civic association meeting. I hardly ever miss. I also attend the Buffalo Park Civic Association, and I make my rounds to attend the other civic association meetings. And when you're out in the community at different events, you listen to what the community has to say. You hear some of the concerns, you take those concerns to, which I often do. I'll call up the business administrator, I'll call the mayor up. You know, people come to council meeting and they will address their concerns there. And to make sure that the residents are being heard in their concerns, that we are looking into their concerns, you make it a part of the budget. One thing that this mayor does, along with city council, we invest in our youth and we invest in our seniors. That was something that was often said in the community that we needed to do more, and we ensure that's being done. But you have to listen and attend events and attend the civic association meetings.
Just to let you know that I have been serving a non-profit organization called Bangladesh Association of Attorney County as a general secretary. I have been connected with the community. This is the only way you can serve the people, when you are connected with them. When you every day, every week, you know what's going on. When they call you, they have someone to call. They have someone to speak to and tell them what their problem is. So this is what I believe in, and that's why I'm running. And just asking your support, and we'll go forward from there. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next question, describe a time when you had to make a difficult decision as a city council member. And we'll start with Mr. Ahmed. His last name, with my Arabic accent, so.
That's okay, I get you. Well, I'm not in the city council yet to make any hard decision or to face something that really hard for me yet. But I believe in when you are there to serve the people, when they have resolutions in front of you, they send it to you a week in advance, you study it. And of course, you'll find whatever it is difficult, a way to, solve it. So I believe I'll be fine, and of course, everyone pray for me as well. Thank you.
I'm sitting here trying to recall a difficult time. One thing about this administration, there's never anything that comes down through council that we have to challenge. So this administration makes it pretty easy to be a council person. One thing that I do is I am chair of revenue and finance, and I will ask those tough questions and during my committee meetings. Because what I don't like to do is get in front of the camera and begin to scream and ask a ton of questions and perform. Because I know that not just the city is looking, but, often the county and the state is looking. So I often will text and call the business administrator after a committee meeting to ask any questions if I'm unsure. Several times I have voted down resolutions because I needed to be clearer on something and I needed more information if I don't get it. But oftentimes I do get that information. So it's not often that it becomes a situation where it's just a back and forth and it becomes difficult.
I'm going to ditto what my running mate, Ms. Marshall, said. Very seldom do we come to a situation where it is difficult for the diocese. One situation that I was in that caused us to be there to 10:45 one night was when they were discussing running some pipeline through a specific neighborhood out to the ocean when we were looking at the windmill issue. And we had residents come from all over, some living like city, that were speaking against that situation. And because I had already lived through a situation in my neighborhood where something was built regarding the windmills, it was hard for me to see it from both sides. But the point was what was best for Atlantic City. Remembering that Atlantic City is 6 wards, not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, but 6 wards. And when we stand, the 3 of us, we represent all 6. So I couldn't think on the idea of what I would have done in Buffalo Park or the 2nd ward. I needed to think on the idea of what was best for the city. Was it a hard decision? Yes, but I believe I made the right decision. That's all.
Thank you very much. Our next question. Explain your understanding of the role of the city council member in promoting economic development. Ms. Bailey.
My role is support. Just support. So many things come across our desk, and I can say this. When you get a package, no matter who is the council person who's handling it, you need to read the information in the packet. To go to a city council meeting and not be prepared. And I had already asked the hard questions of Ms. Marshall, who chairs finance, the hard questions of Mr. Councilman Shabazz, who chairs other things. You come prepared so that you know, first of all, the answer and the support that you want to give. Under this leadership, I think Mayor Small puts it like this: numbers and data doesn't lie. If you guys look back over the last 6 years of this leadership, of the administration that's setting now, you'll see how much we've done from that standpoint. So I just believe as long as we're continuing to support the mayor and his ideas, support what you bring and what you need, then we can only go forward from there. That's all I have to say.
A lot of work happens during the committee meetings. We get an agenda, we get we get the resolutions that the administration wants to place on the agenda. That's the time where you go back and forth or try to tweak things or make something stronger. And communicating with the business administrator and communicating with the mayor. We're able to call the mayor. We see something that may be falling between the cracks or something that may be strengthened. And that's important for your city council members to have that relationship with the administration and with the mayor. And it's not to just approve everything, because Mrs. Bailey and I, we go through everything and we ask questions. It's more than just a relationship. It's making sure we are the ears and the eyes of the community. And so we do ask those difficult questions. And often we are heard. The administration hears us. The BA hears us. And so that's the way we strengthen and continue to support the programs that are coming down from the mayor's office.
I totally agree with these two beautiful ladies what they said. Of course, the paper that comes to you, you need to go through the paperwork. The package comes in, you need to see the paper, every single lines. If there is anything, any question, ask the business administration or the mayor. And of course, I have two beautiful ladies. I can always ask them if I get stuck up in somewhere. So, thank you again.
Our final question before our closing statements. How do you handle disagreements between yourself and other members of the City Council? And Mr. Ahmed, we're starting here.
Well, disagreement happens all the time. Well, when you are in your family, with your kids, with your wife, but end of the day, you are all together as a family. So disagreement in the City Council, of course there will be disagreement. But for the betterment of the community, will be there all together, make one decision. And that's what I believe in, and that's what I will do, of course. Thank you.
I'm not confrontational, and if I'm having a conversation with someone and they have a strong viewpoint, then I tend to just move away. Often on City Council, people have their viewpoint, they have their narrative, so I don't do any back and forth. I see Council President Aaron Sporty Randolph is here. Him and we talk a lot, and he runs things off of me as I do with him. And he knows that we have council meeting tomorrow. Tomorrow I'll probably call him 5 times if I have questions or concerns, and we have great dialogue. I like to have dialogue. I don't like to go back and forth with people, and as I stated earlier, when I'm sitting here on the diocese, I do very little talking because I know people who want to invest in Atlantic City, they are looking at me and they're looking at council members seeing how we behave. And so often I may text the VA or something like that, but that's what we do. That's how I handle things, and I appreciate Council President for all that he does, and where I could pick up the phone and call him and run things off of him and have dialogue, not be confrontational.
I did on what she said, but I believe we all have a reasonable relationship on council that's now. Not that everybody votes the way you want to. So how I address it, I'm a prayer, I'm sorry, but I pray about it before I open my mouth, because I know if I do that, I'm not going to say anything that's going to make that person just get a little hotter, a little heated. And we have a few people who bring candy all the time in front of us, and we share that. I know it sounds crazy, but how do you really get angry at a person who's offering you something to eat? Okay? So I know it sounds funny, but the year that I've been on council, I have not ran into a situation where we all walked out of the room angry with somebody. And a lot of it has to do with council president and the solicitor and how they run a meeting. So regardless of whether you are Republican or Democrat, on Atlantic City Council, when we are on that diocese, we treat each other with respect. Do we get heated? Yes, but we treat each other with respect. And I can't remember not one, in the 12 months I sat on that board, where we left out of a meeting and we couldn't say good night or walk one of the sisters to the car. So all I can say is, what you got a good setting council in Atlantic City. Keep it in place, please. That's all.
Thank you to each of you for a beautiful round of questions. And now to our closing statements. We have 1 minute for those statements, and we will end on the opposite end. Can you start, Mr. Ahmed, with your closing statement?
Why I have to go first all the time? It's usually ladies first, isn't it? All right, folks, this election is more than politics. As I said, I've been living in the city 25 years. So many of you have been living here so long. We need people like who really care for us, We need people who really from their heart, they want to do something betterment for our future generations. You need to look at the view of when you call, when you're going to find someone. The administration right now, there is open policy. You can anytime go to the city hall and you can meet anybody. You don't have to make an appointment. Next month we'll see you. No. So this is what you need. And these three of us here on this stage right now in front of you, anytime you call, anything you need, you will see us, you'll find us. And my request to you, you already put the card up. I didn't say what I wanted to say. My request to you, November 4th, vote for Columbia all the way, School Board 1, 2, 3. And thank you once again for June 10th voting for us. Because of your vote, we are here in front of you today. And inshallah, with your vote in November 4th, we'll be serving you as your servant. Thank you.
I want to thank the NAACP for hosting us tonight, and thank everyone for the questions. They were great questions. This team is a great team. We all own homes in Atlantic City. We believe in the vision of Atlantic City, and the budget reflects that. The budget that we vote on every year, we invest in our youth, we invest in our seniors, we invest in many programs. And over the last 5 or 6 budgets, there have been a tax savings. And so we also want to support, while we are approving many different programs, there's been a tax savings for people who own a home in Atlantic City. And that's something we want to continue. On tomorrow night's agenda, we have a resolution where Huffman is coming into Atlantic City. Not only do they believe in Atlantic City and putting up close to 200 homes, but they're coming back for another city block to build an additional 100 homes. That's relationships. And that's something that this administration has with many people, is those relationships where people are eager to build and come to Atlantic City. And so we ask, if everyone, please, we ask for your humble support to come out and vote column B from the top to the bottom, School Board 1, 2, 3, and continue to support this administration and City Council. We are working, we are reading our package, we are attending meetings, and we are going to continue to support our programs and the youth and our seniors in this community. Thank you for having us.
I too want to say thank you once again. I've probably been in Atlantic City longer than these people have been born, but it's okay. But Atlantic City is a great place. It really is. And the reason one of the other reasons I know it's a great place, because if not one time, at least 5 times in this month, someone's called me about my house. People want to come to Atlantic City, y'all. I don't know if anybody believes it or not, but there people want to come back to Atlantic City. It's got to be because of what you're doing as residents and what we are doing. It's called result-oriented leadership. And I believe that under the mayor and this administration, we are results-oriented. If you just reflect and look back at where Atlantic City came from, then you know that we're not sitting here for nothing. We're sitting here because we have Atlantic City in our heart. Mayor Small says Atlantic City board, Atlantic City, he'll be Atlantic City dead. I don't know about all that, but I will say this, that as long as we take consideration when we are voting as to what the individual says he or she is going to do and what they have done, then you can only vote right. Vote column B from the beginning to the end. Vote School Board 1, 2, 3. And if we do that, we're going to be just fine going forward. Thank you again for your attention and for your presence here this evening. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Next, we have Christian Ragland conducting our county surrogate portion.
So we are going to move forward with our county surrogate candidates with Dr. Sherry Armenta and Mr. James Curcio. Yes, sir, you go up here. So if we could start with Mr. James Curcio. Actually, do you mind if we start with Dr. Sherry Parmenter? If you would take 2 minutes just to give us an opening statement as to your candidacy for this role.
Thank you, Mr. Wagner. Thank you, NAACP, for the invitation to this event. My name, as stated before, is Dr. Sherry Parmenter. I am affectionately called Dr. P. I grew up in Pleasantville, New Jersey. I'm a product of Pleasantville Public Schools. After I finished high school, I attended Hampton University, a historically black college university in Hampton, Virginia. I returned home after graduation and stayed for 1 year. I got a job working for the Casino Control Commission as an inspector. But my parents didn't feel like I was an adult, so I moved to Atlanta to declare my independence. I stayed in Atlanta for 13 years. When I was down there, I went to law school, and I graduated from law school. Fast forward to 1993, I moved back to New Jersey, and by now my parents realized I was an adult. So I moved back to New Jersey, and I was in the process of getting a divorce, and I had a toddler. And so my mother sat me down. She was a school teacher in Pleasantville, and she said, "You need to consider becoming a teacher." She said, "You'll have summers off." She said, "You'll be in a pension system. Your money will always be guaranteed. You'll know what your child needs to know. You'll be in the system. And when your child is out of school, you'll be out of school." I did that, and I never looked back. I taught for several years, and then I decided to go back to school. I got my master's degree in instructional technology from Stockton University. Then I continued on my journey of education. I got my doctorate from Brown University in educational leadership. My plan was to become a researcher, but they say we plan, God laughs. During the process of my doctoral program, I was involved in a very serious car accident, and so that researcher kind of went out the window, but my drive did not. I went back into education. I currently teach in Atlantic City schools. I love education. I love teaching. But I also have the background to be the surrogate. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Parmenter. And next up, Ms. Curcio.
Thank you. Good evening. Thank you very much for the invitation to be here. My name is James Curcio. I was born here. I grew up in Hamilton, and I attended Rutgers University. I graduated in 1982, and I went to law school at William & Mary in Williamsburg, Virginia. Upon graduation from law school, I was admitted to the practice of law in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, and I went into the private practice of law for 25 years. And during that time, I also got interested in politics, and I ran for the office of what is now County Commission, and I was elected. I served 16 years on that board. I was chairman of the board for 2 years. And then in 2010, I ran for the office of county surrogate. It was something that was important to me for quite a number of years. We had a long serving incumbent, but I was very interested in that office because it combined two of the things of great interest to me, being involved in public service and also in the practice of law, because the surrogate is known as the judge of the surrogate's court. So I had the chance to serve in that office, and it's been 15 years. It was very important for me to be here with you tonight because I have been invited by this organization over the course of all these years, and you've always been most welcoming to me. You've included me in all your events, and it's been important to me. I appreciate covering all of this county. I go from one end to the other, the most rural areas here in the city. It's important to me that I am a surrogate for all the people of Atlantic County. I never forget that. And our job, really, as surrogate, is to be a problem solver. It takes in what I learned practicing law. It takes in what I've learned being a county commissioner, which is that we have to run an efficient operation, but most of all, we have to serve people in their time of need. And that's what I've tried to do. So I want to thank you again for this very kind invitation, and I'm glad to be here.
Thank you. We are grateful that both of you are here as well. And so I would like to ask both of you to explain what a county surrogate is. I think many people have different interpretations. I just learned recently, a couple of years ago, New Jersey is probably one of the few states that has this system. So if you don't mind, both of you sharing, maybe take 30 seconds to explain what the county surrogate role is to you.
New Jersey has a two-tiered probate system, which is that if a matter is routine, for example, if a person dies and everything is going to go to the spouse, then that type of estate can be handled in the surrogate's court. The surrogate is an old office that existed in olden times, and it was made part of the New Jersey Constitution. I think it's a very good system because the surrogate can head off things that are uncontested, and this avoids people having to go to court on every type of probate, which is the case in some states. But here we have this office of county surrogate. The surrogate is a judge of the surrogate's court, which has a very narrow jurisdiction, which is mainly just wills and estates, but a lot of discretion within that field. So the surrogate is in a great position to help people who are going through a difficult time. The surrogate also handles, as a clerk of the Superior Court, adoptions, guardianships, and contested estates. So if a brother and sister are fighting, then that would have to go to court. The surrogate then puts on a different hat and is a clerk. So the surrogate is also a county department head. So the surrogate basically wears three hats. Judge of the surrogate's court for wills and estates, Superior Court deputy clerk for adoptions, guardianships, and contested estates, and county department head, an elected official, which means we serve the public first and foremost.
Thank you, sir. And Dr. Parment, I want to, if you don't mind adding anything to that.
The only thing I would add to that is that it is an elected official, and it's in the Constitution that the surrogate has to be elected. It's one of two positions that have to be elected for the state. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you both sharing that because I want to make sure that the audience understands the importance of that role. And so with that being said, Dr. Parmenter, if you don't mind sharing about how you believe what steps should be taken to ensure transparency and accountability within the Atlanta County government.
I'm going to talk about the surrogate's office. What I think should happen as far as transparency with the surrogate's office is I think there should be more sample wills and other type of documents available for the public. I think there also should be more information about how the surrogate's office actually works and how it functions. Because, as you said, you didn't know what the surrogate's office really was about. Most people, when I say I'm running for surrogate, they say, what does the surrogate do? So it shouldn't be that way. People should know what the surrogate's office is about. So I think there should be sample wills out there, different types of wills. There should be a simple will. There should be a more complex wills. Also, I think the surrogate's office should put out a list of attorneys who handle wills in the state so that the public, especially seniors,
who might be in need of a will, more so than most people, will know who they could go to. Additionally, I think the surrogate's office should put out information about how you can deposit your will into the estate of the surrogate's office. I didn't know about that at the time that we had my mother's will done, and had I known about it, I would have had her deposit her will there for safekeeping, especially because she had dementia. I think more and more people as they age and more people with dementia need to know, they're going to know about that option. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kirster, same question?
I think Dr. Parmenter has raised some very good points, and we have tried over the years to do all these things. Outreach has been a very important part of what I've been doing as surrogate. I do go around to all the organizations in the county and talk about the basic estate plan, will, power of attorney, and advance directive for healthcare. So we are out there trying to stress these things. The depository of wills is really not something that New Jersey permits at this time, but we do encourage people when they have a question about a will to come in and see us. I will sit down with anybody and go over their documents. We can't make a will for an individual, but we can go over an existing will to see if it's going to do what they expect it to do. And we do have a website which has a lot of forms on it. It does have forms for will, advance directive. I think Dr. Parmenter has got a good idea about having different types of wills. That's something that had never occurred to me. We do have a simple will up there, but we also tell people that the gold standard, if you can afford it, is to get an attorney to do it. But if you can't get an attorney, to use the form that we have and to make sure it's executed properly with 2 witnesses and a notary. So we do try to get the information out there. I've been to many churches and community groups, service organizations, wherever I've been invited, because we are carrying that message. Our slogan is, we're there when you need us. And that's what's been my goal. Thank you.
Thank you. And as you both mentioned that this office, this role has a very specific functionality within the county, how do you both plan to continue to foster collaboration amongst the different departments that you need to work with or amongst the community, especially in a time where it seems to be more divisive because of difference of opinions? But these are critically important conversations and things that our community needs to have at an effective rate of speed and an effective rate of knowledge. So how do you plan to use collaboration amongst different departments in the county, amongst the community, to make sure that people understand the resources and the need of the office that you have? For both of them, I think. Yeah, you don't mind starting.
The surrogate's office, though elected, and though we are elected in this partisan framework of every other office that's on the ballot, once elected, there is no more politics in surrogate. It really is a non-political office. It's a service department. And that's why it's so important. I think it's an excellent question. We do engage in shared services. I've shared an accountant with the library so that we had that type of shared service. We do have a lot of printing picked up by the county, other offices. So we do work that way. But we also work especially with organizations. Some of our churches and the nursing homes and other care facilities to get in there to talk to people directly so that they know what's going on and what they need to do when the time comes that these important services are going to be called upon. To me, my favorite part of the job is adoptions. We do take in all the adoption cases and screen them for the Superior Court. So that's something that's very important. And we do have a National Adoption Day, which is advertised, and that's coming up in November. So these are some of the things we do, but the main thing is to be a problem solver for people who are going through difficult situations, and that's been my number one goal.
Thank you, Dr. Parmenter.
Thank you for the question. What I would look at would be community outreach. I like what the Sheriff's Office did several years ago. They had a mobile van, and they would be out in the community. They would be out in ShopRite parking lots. They would be out in other strip mall parking lots, and they had literature that they were passing out into the different communities. I would look at that as far as the community. For interdepartmental and intradepartmental, I would look to have maybe Monday mingle lunches. Come find out what's going on in the surrogate's office. I would look at maybe a Friday, 4 o'clock. Come and let's have Jeopardy and find out what's going on with the surrogate's office. I would even look to have maybe like a little puzzle that we could send out once a month to the other departments. And then there's a small reward, maybe a $5 Wawa gift card or something like that for someone who can answer all the questions correctly. But it would generate interest about the surrogate's office, make people more curious to find out what exactly is going on, how do I access these services, and what all do I need to know? Because everybody at some point will need the surrogate's office. Thank you.
Thank you. How do you evaluate the effectiveness of policies and programs that will be implemented by the surrogate's office? Whether it's something that you created or whether it's something that you continue to allow to exist, how are you managing and showing the effectiveness of those policies and procedures? Dr. Palmerton.
I would do surveys. I would do customer satisfaction surveys. I would implement a program similar to what LabCorp is doing now. They have a how am I doing? I never thought I would see that with LabCorp, but I am, and I love it. How am I doing? I think every court system needs to have something like that because everybody going into the court system, especially the surrogate's office, is going into there with some sensitive matter. And so everybody going in should walk out feeling better than the way they went in. So I would look at that, how am I doing? I would really push that hard for the clients to give feedback on how their visit was. Again, I would do surveys. I would critique the clientele. I would critique the staff to ask them, self-evaluate. How do you think you're doing? Because they might think they're doing great. And, critique your casemate right here next to you. How do you think they're doing? It would be anonymous, of course, but I would do things like that to assess effectiveness. And then I would also look at the filings. What's the number of filings this year versus last year, even though it's probably hard to look at the data that way. But I would look at the filings to see what we have, see what's resolved, see if there was a problem, and I would just do a deep dive into the data. Thank
Awesome. Thank you. I have a kind of a bonus question for you. Now, I'm one of those people that when you're driving and where you hear, did someone steal your driver's license or your social security card? Do you know that this? So the question is, I'm just running my mouth. I'm sorry. Go ahead, sir. Did you answer that question? I want to make sure. Did you answer that question? Okay, so let me make sure, before I answer my personal questions here, how do you rate and evaluate the effectiveness of policies and programs implemented by the surrogate's office?
Well, we do keep statistics. We are required to do a statistical report to the state by the 4th of the month, every month for what we've done the previous month. And we are a revenue generating office, so the county is keeping tabs on our revenue. I do have an accountant now, part-time accountant on staff. And what we are doing is we are looking at outreach. The thing that I've learned over the years with the surrogates court is that it's hard to get out on the street and say, hey, come and look at what we do, because really the people who are coming to us are coming in times of great trouble. So the issues that we're dealing with, what I say is we're there when you need us, because although often I've heard nobody knows, but when people need us, they do find us, because we have about 1,200 client contacts a month in our office, and we do keep those statistics. So what we're looking for is not only efficiency as far as a revenue generating office and what we cost to operate, but also the quality of service that we're providing. I think long before I ever got there, the surrogate staff had a reputation for quality of service, and I think that I have been able to continue that. When we have simple matters, what we say is get it right and turn it around quickly. And if it's something more complex and somebody has reached out to me and said, I'm having trouble with a will or there's some writing on it or something, then I will take a personal interest. And I take a personal interest in every case that is brought to my attention. And also, I make it a point to review and sign every document that goes out of the office. There's no signature stamp for me. I sign everything, and that's one of the important things that I've tried to maintain.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Parmenter, for refereeing me here. The question that I had, I heard this last week on the radio. It talked about estate planning and title theft. And there was talk about how senior citizens were the greatest population to be victim of title theft. And I didn't know what that was. And I learned that's when people get access to your house title and can pretty much manipulate it so that you lose your home. And I heard it a couple times on the radio, and this seems to be one of the growing concerns in our communities. As the surrogate, what do you plan to do, not just for title theft, but anything that is growing as a problem to the community?
Well, so far this year, we have gone around. I've gone out with the sheriff, the county clerk, and one or two of the commissioners. We've been going to towns. We've been to city council chambers in some of the municipalities to talk to seniors about scams. And of course, the sheriff has a certain angle they approach it from. The clerk is mainly the office that concerns with title theft, and the clerk does have a program to allow people to build in security to their real estate title so that they won't be caught by that type of scam. The scams we see mainly in the surrogate's office is where people get a letter, it looks very official, on a legal stationery maybe from Canada or from another country, saying that you've been discovered as an heir, and they put a person with your similar name, and they say, you may be an heir, contact me. And what they're trying to do is get your banking information. They'll promise you that they can give you a certain percentage of this estate, but in reality, they're trying to get your information. So what we always tell people in any of these scams, slow down. They're always trying to rush you to a decision. So the first line of defense is slow the whole process down. If it really isn't something important, it will still be there tomorrow so that you can talk to people that you trust and that you have faith in. So this is one of the scam defenses that we are out there talking about. But it is a very real issue today, and we are out in the communities. In fact, I believe tomorrow we're going to be in Absecon, tomorrow morning in the Senior Citizens for Absecon at one of the churches to talk about this very subject. So I thank you for the question.
Dr. Carter, you mentioned this as well, community outreach. This is your passion as well. If you don't mind answering the same question.
Thank you for that question, because I'm actually dealing with that right now. Not the title theft, but the part about being ostensibly being an heir to an estate that is not in this country. My father is just so excited about it. He talks to every scammer that calls. And so we have been on it. My brother, my sister, and I, and my aunt, we have been on it hard. And so I know it's not just my father. And he says, why did they call me? And I said, because you talk to them. But the real answer is you got to get the information out. So I would look for a public-private partnership to get the information out online, robo-text calls. I would have phone calls, but I would get the information out. Commercials, public service announcements, you got to get the information out, because a lot of seniors think this is legit. And until they hear officially that it's not legit, they're going to believe it. My father said one time, he says, oh, I just called and let you know I'm going to meet these people. And I said, well, don't go. He said, I didn't ask your permission. I'm telling you what I'm going to do. And I was like, oh, no. And we had to stop it. We're not the only ones going through this. That's why the information has to get out. It's got to get out to the offspring of the seniors. It's got to get out to the seniors. It's got to get out to their siblings. It's got to get out to the community. So I would do community outreach, and I would do public service announcements. I would have it out on the internet, and I would have text messages. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you both. And so that concludes our questions. And can we give them a hand for the information that they shared? So what we want to do is go for 2 minutes each, starting with you, Dr. Carmen, if you don't mind sharing a conclusion of tonight's thoughts and your thoughts.
Thank you once again. In conclusion, I'm running for surrogate because I can do this job. Like I said before, I have a Juris Doctorate degree, that's a law degree, and I also have a doctorate degree in educational leadership, focused on leadership. I also have a lot of experience in community service. I come from a family of community service. I started with one committee under the auspices of the Atlanta County Superior Court, and I served as a volunteer in that position for 24 and a half years. I am on the Galloway School Board. I am the only Black woman on the Galloway School Board for 8 years in the history of Galloway Township. I have been the policy chair for Galloway Township Public Schools, and I'm currently still on the policy committee. I have been social action chair of a sorority that I'm involved in. I have been the president of another national sorority, my local chapter here. I have tons of leadership experience, and I have the legal background to be able to find out anything I need to know. As I said before, I was a researcher. I'm still a researcher, and I'm probably going to die a researcher. So, NAACP, thank you so very much for this invitation. Thank you to everyone here. Thank you to everyone there. Thank you, Mr. Curcio, for your courteous words. I do appreciate it. Mr. Ragland, I'm going to talk to you about something I need for my class.
I'm here for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I became an attorney in 1985, and I have devoted my entire professional life to the practice of law and the service of Atlanta County residents through public office. My experience in the surrogate's office, I believe, has been very positive. I love the job. I love helping people. We do try to go above and beyond in every case, and I think that's one of the reasons the people of New Jersey made it a constitutional elected office, because they wanted somebody who would be accessible and accountable to the public and each community. So I want you to know that you can call me at any time. I will go anywhere in this county. If people tell me my grandmother's in the nursing home needs to sign papers, can we get something? I will be over there the next day. Give me 24 hours notice, and I will go anywhere in this county. I've gone as far as Philadelphia and anywhere in South Jersey. I've been down to Penns Grove to get papers signed for people. Anywhere there's a person that needs help, our office is going to go and find them. And I like the old saying, the buck stops here. I've always taken the view that the staff cannot operate the office. The surrogate has to be the ultimate decision maker on each case, because the buck has to stop with the surrogate. With me in office, I know that the surrogate is not obligated to be an attorney by the Constitution, but in many of the counties where the surrogate is not an attorney, they're hiring staff attorneys. So we don't have that in Atlanta County. In the 15 years that I've been there, I've been the staff attorney. I want to review everything that comes in there, and I want everyone to know that if they reach out to me, and everything I send out, I usually have my cell phone number on there, because I want people to know they can call me, and I will get back to you immediately. I know that by the time you're calling the surrogate, something bad is going on. Someone has died, or you have a relative with a dementia and you need a guardianship, a child maybe that's been in an accident, there's money coming in, you want to make sure it's managed properly. These are the things that I have been doing for the past 15 years, and I would really like the chance to continue. Thank you so much to the NAACP for inviting me. You've always been most gracious to me, and I would not miss a chance to come here and be with you. Thanks. Thank you both.
Well, you guys are good. So we're going to bring up all of our commissioner candidates in the persons of Victoria Dosiamore, Art Schenker, George Tibbett, and Reverend Colin A. Day Sr.
Just hold on.
right. So we have two candidates tonight, and we are grateful. Is there another candidate? Oh, y'all just talking. Okay. I thought you guys were telling me there's another candidate coming in. So, all right, I was in your business. So we have two candidates tonight for our commissioner. And so thank you, you both, for coming out and sharing your time with.
Good evening, everyone. First of all, let me thank you so much to the NAACP, my good friend Khalif Shabazz, all of the members. Thank you so much for your presence and your patience tonight and your participation in the body politic and support. For those that may not know me, my name is Collins Days. I'm a resident of Atlantic City. I'm a pastor of Second Baptist Church here in Atlantic City. Come November 1st, I'll be here for 31 years. And for all of the 31 years, I have participated in working for the betterment of Atlantic City and Atlantic County. I have always marshaled the cause of the people, especially those who don't have a voice, who are not represented. And I want to continue to do the same work I've always done. I've done a lot of work with housing development. I led the Atlantic City Long-Term Recovery Group after Superstorm Sandy. We helped over 8,000 residents in Atlantic City. We rebuilt or remodeled over 150 houses in Atlantic City. We've done senior housing. We've also worked for many, many years for those who are addicted, as well as for those who are homeless. We know there's a tremendous homeless problem in Atlantic City and Atlantic County. I've always worked toward get housing the homeless, and we'll continue to do that, as well as work toward economic development. The mayor has a great vision for Atlantic City. We have the same vision for the county in accountability for taxes and accountability for the budget.
Hello. Good evening, and thank you to the NAACP for having us here. I'm thrilled to be here with my running mate, and hopefully working together. Reverend Collins Days. My name is Dr. Victoria Dulcimore. I'm born in Atlantic City. My family lived in Atlantic City. My mother was an RN at Atlantic City Hospital. My father had many businesses here in Atlantic City. My grandfather had a shoemaker shop for over 50 years here in Atlantic City. I am a product of the public school system here in Atlantic County, and I eventually went to college and to graduate school in Louisiana, and then I moved out to Los Angeles, where I spent 20 years working as a film composer. My background is in music. I have a bachelor's and a master's of fine arts in composition, and then I got into higher education and worked at Pepperdine University for 10 years, and I also earned my MBA. And when I moved back here, I actually moved to Connecticut and worked in higher education, University of New Haven. I worked as administrator, managing executive MBA programs. I had a lot of responsibility with budgets, negotiating contracts, working with vendors, not only in recruitment, but as an external position as well as a revenue generator. But when I moved back to New Jersey to raise my family, about 10 years ago, I started volunteering with my father and learned about some of the issues, in particular with the food bank. Decided to get involved, and with the current administration, with the last election, I felt that maybe I should learn more and see what I can contribute with my experience. And when I learned about so many of the inequities, especially just on the commission in general, we need more equity in terms of representation on the Democratic side and have another voice. So that's why I felt compelled to run for Commissioner at Large in Atlantic County. Thank you.
Thank you both. And you both touched on a very important topic. Actually, before I came here, I run a life expectancy group with young men in Atlantic County, and we had a young man who just received custody of his 3 children, but did not have any food. Received the good news of getting the custody that he was looking for, but it happened so quickly he was not prepared, and he didn't know where to go. Unfortunately, he was able to connect him, but that's just one person of the many facing food insecurity. If you both can speak to your plan, your vision, your mission around how to solve for food insecurity in Atlantic County.
Thank you. You know, it's very interesting. Food insecurity has been one of the things that we have worked on, that we are all concerned about. And we know we live in a food desert. We live in 48 blocks. It's about 98 corner stores in 48 blocks. And we know the kind of food that they receive. We know how it impacts our health. Just today, and for the last 5 years, we've been working on a documentary dealing with food insecurity for Atlantic City being a food desert. The mayor has done so much effort in getting the supermarket here. And we've got to continue that work. We've got to continue the effort. We've got to put monies to that. We have to do it. Our community deserves it. We live in an urban city, and we have to go out of our city to shop, to get wholesome, fresh food. And so we'll work with the county, the ACIA, to make sure to add dollars to all the work that the mayor's doing to make sure that in Atlantic City we have a supermarket to make sure that we can have decent food like all the other communities.
Thank you. Dr. Dosey?
Well, we are all feeling the crunch in terms of how prices are rising at the grocery store. So that puts a lot of pressure on our South Jersey Food Bank. Just in 6 months, $26 million has been cut from the food bank, and that doesn't even include the SNAP, which is coming. This is something that is near and dear to my heart, as my father began putting together food drives and to demonstrate to others how easy it is to do this. And I could not believe, once I started helping him, the food insecurity and how much it really is a crisis, and not just this year, but for many years since I moved back to this area. So I would like to work with them and come up with creative ways of working with other affiliates and food chains and grocery stores to expand. And also we have a wonderful group of people who are promoting within the schools how to cultivate, not saying we could all grow food, but how to gain access to that and how to work with some of our local farms. And we're called the Garden State for a reason. So we just have to go outside, for example, to Hamilton and figure out ways that we can work with some of the farmers and be able to have better distribution, better access, and better support and protect the county from some of these cuts that are coming to the food banks that people so desperately need, especially now.
Thank you. What steps do you believe you both will take to ensure transparency and accountability when it comes to county government decisions? Can we start with you, Dr. Dulcie-Moore?
Well, I think that's extremely important. And like I said in my opening statement, one of the reasons why I felt compelled to run was that there really wasn't an equal collaboration or representation on both sides. And I think that begins with leading by understanding your constituents. Now, at large, you are responsible for all the communities, all the municipalities in the county. And that's a big lift. But I also believe it's incumbent upon everyone that's on the commission to be able to understand the needs, the viewpoints of everyone in their communities, whether they're just managing one area or the entire county. My background in higher education provided me with a lot of that training experience because I managed fairly large budgets I had the responsibility of negotiating contracts with outside vendors, and every year I would revisit those contracts to make sure that I was doing everything I could in deference to our budget. Now, I had a revenue responsibility, but at the same time, I wanted to make sure that I was transparent with our budget and sharing information and making sure that we were able to, hit the bottom line at the end of the day. I think more collaboration is what's important, and representation on the commission.
I have the wonderful privilege of filling the unexpired term of our good friend Ernest Corson. And one thing we could say, there's only eight Republicans and one Democrat that Corson represented as well. And he was strategic in making sure he was on all the most important committees. And I'm thankful that the same committees that he served on, I served on. And that's where the transparency comes in, the representation comes in. Not in the commission vote when we all come together, but it's in those committees, because that's when the rubber meets the road. And I'm grateful to serve, and that's where you need to be transparent, let people know what the real issues are, where the money's really going, who the money's going to, and what works best for the entire county. District 1 is Atlantic City, West Atlantic City, Benton, Margate, and Longport. All of those have particular specific needs, but I'm looking for working and making sure that everybody knows what's going on in the county.
Thank you. And Commissioner Days, and I apologize for not starting with that. Commissioner Reverend Days, this question is for you. How do you prioritize short-term projects at the county level with long-term projects? Because we know many people, they like to see the long-term projects completed quickly and don't really care for the short ones taking longer. So how do you prioritize, those two things?
Just that by that, you prioritize them based on the length, the money it's going to take, the vision, and I think all the short-term priorities of projects ought to be leaning toward the long-term projects. It's important that we identify those projects that we're working with the various municipalities, the various mayors. We've already reached out to them to find out what is it that your priority is, how is it that the county can help. We know that Atlantic City, based on the other municipalities I work with and my partner, that we look forward to working together on. Atlantic City gets probably the least amount of resources than any other place in the county. But that doesn't mean that there's not resources that's available to the city. We want to make sure that every dollar, every grant dollar that the county has can go alongside what the mayor's doing in the city of Atlantic City and all the municipalities that I'll be representing, that I represent now, that are able to help with the projects going forward.
Thank you. Dr. Dosimo, this question is for you. So in my personal life, I serve as a healthcare executive in a hospital, and one of the goals we're going after is life expectancy. We recognize that your zip code can determine how long you live. A goal of mine currently is to see Atlantic County at the top of a county health ranking based on our health outcomes. Any vision, mission, or plan to help Atlantic County become one of the top as it pertains to health outcomes, whether that's life expectancy, whether that's getting on top of our screenings, making sure that we have access to care. Could you speak to how you plan to help us in that journey of making Atlantic County the healthiest one?
Well, there's a lot to that question. One of my goals would be to improve the quality of life. And the quality of life here in Atlantic County stems in many different ways, and it can start with job programs, opportunities in cities where they may not have them, underrepresented populations, such as women-owned entrepreneurs, the ability to create jobs and job training programs. In terms of healthcare, Atlantic City itself is growing tremendously, as a thriving industry right here. I think education is really important, and one of the things I neglected to mention that I've studied educational policy. That's my doctorate's in educational leadership, educational policy, and I think that it's really important that, first of all, people understand what the job of the commission is to do. Now, there's many perspectives of it, but to be able to improve the quality of life and life expectancy, it has many forms. The socioeconomic disparity is definitely an issue that I think we all should be concerned of, so we need to create opportunities for people and make sure we have programs in our schools that will fortify that. And another reason that I think it's so important is I want to be able to protect what's coming down the road in terms of the dismantling of the Department of Education, which was another driver for me being here tonight. I want to be able to protect New Jersey, Atlantic County, and make sure we have the budgets that we need to support our teachers and our students, because that creates a great inequality. And education is the very beginnings of creating a better quality of life, and hopefully in turn, life expectancy.
Thank you. And our last question before we close out is, as we said earlier, how are we going to evaluate the work that you all do at the county level? How do you evaluate yourselves, if elected, for the efficiency of the policies that you bring, the collaboration that comes with it? How can we evaluate it? How are you evaluating that effectiveness and all of the great things you're going to do?
Let me just try to take a stab at the question you had before that, because I think it's very important when it comes to healthcare. Our biggest issue, especially in Atlantic City, is access. We have a great hospital system that we still need to hold our hospital accountable, making sure we still have one of the highest infant mortality rates in the state in our area. We need to make sure that the healthcare system, that we have really a great deal of access to it. And you work with the hospital system, so you know it. And we worked in the past for the churches, community health fairs. When COVID came, we probably registered more people to get the COVID vaccine than anybody, over 3,000 people. We need to make sure that we have access. But being on the county level, county health, there's money there for it. We needed to get people out, get access to health care. When it comes to accountability, the way that you know whether we hold ourselves accountable, if we're doing a good job, if we're representing you, if we are accessible to you, we're doing a good job. When we're representing your concerns, that's how we rate. But it doesn't matter whether I think I'm doing a good job. What matters is, do you think I'm doing a good job? Thank you.
To echo that, yes, you're serving the people. And in my positions in higher education, one of the things that I did a little different was to visit graduate students where they were. I worked for executive MBA programs. And this was all over California and sometimes in other countries. So I truly believe in management and leadership by sharing information and having transparency in terms of sharing what I'm doing to move the organization forward, but also you have to be a good listener. And I want to be able to listen to those in other communities, because their needs may not be the same as someone in another area. And how do you know unless you were there to listen? I may not know all the answers, but I'm going to share this information and find the answers with the commission. But that's just my style, my background is to be available. In all of my work that I've done, I feel like I partner. I've always wanted to make sure, whether it's my children in school, I want to partner with the teachers, I want to partner with the administrators, or whether it's the job that I'm doing at Rowan University, teaching, I want to partner with the students to make them successful. They walk in my classroom and say, this is how you can be successful in here. And if you feel like you're struggling, then you need to let me know, and I will give you the tools, and I'll help you understand how you can be successful and continue on and grow. And that's the same mentality I believe with our residents and our communities here in Atlantic County. That's what I would bring in terms of being able to have transparency and understanding what our communities need and bringing that back and representing that at the commission.
Well, thank you both. Can we give them a hand? So what we're going to do now is give you about 2 minutes to conclude tonight's thoughts, anything you would like to share, anything that you wanted to say regarding any other questions. But we thank you again for your time tonight. And Commissioner Days, if we could start with you, that would be great.
Thank you again for allowing us to come and participate tonight. It means a whole lot to me. You know, as I said, I've been here 31 years. I've been present. There's nothing major that happened in the city or either mine that I have not been there and not given the effort and put forth 100%. My wife knows I start every morning at 4 a.m. and I work until it's time to go to bed. It's past my bedtime. I've been here. I live right across the street. And there's a song, and I don't know much about songs, but it's a song that said, if you don't know me by now, you'll never get to know. Thank you.
That's great. It's hard to follow. Some of you have probably heard this about me before as I've gone through this campaign, or some of you personally know me. I was fortunate to have been coached by the Honorable Jim Whalen, who I think in this room we all know and love. But a couple of things that he taught me about marathon swimming is that it's endurance, and you have to set your mind to something and set a goal and pursue that and stick to it and just keep going. Even when the odds are against you, even when you physically can't keep moving forward, you have to believe in yourself, and you have to believe in others. And I believed him. So I think for myself, some of the things that I've learned about, I want to work on making sure that our veterans are cared for, that all these social safety nets that they deserve, that we all deserve, that we've earned, are protected in Atlantic County. In particular, Meadowview Nursing Home, I want to make sure that we're able to maintain our veterans wing there, and that we go through a rigorous process of analysis if it is going to be privatized, not at the consequence of those residents and the families that need that care. That's also, the food insecurity we talked about. I want to be very much involved with helping Atlantic County to make sure that we can protect our food bank and expand it and continue the service to our communities. I also think, in terms of some of the questions that were asked today, we need to make sure that we bring in some job training programs to these growing industries, in addition to the casinos, but help grow other industries and attract some entrepreneurs and attract big businesses to come to Atlantic County, because we have people here that can do the job. And we have a great, beautiful place to live for these companies to come in, and we have workers that would be able to do the work, and we can bring in some new job training programs. So I just would like to be creative and working with alliances with some of these, with other municipalities, and find out what their needs are. I feel committed. I'm so happy to be living here again in Atlantic County, raising my 3 children. And thank you very much to NAACP for the opportunity to come here this evening and speak with you. And I've also enjoyed hearing from the other candidates. Thank you.
Thank you both. I think we're all looking forward to hearing Commissioner Day sing that song. Dr. Dorsman, you did say something, and I'd be remiss if I did not mention this, but do we have any U.S. military veterans in the room? We want to thank you for your service. All right, I am turning the mic over. This is the last time you all will see me tonight, so good night. I think it's past my bedtime as well. But I believe Reverend Green is coming up, and we have our final group of candidates, which are our Board of Education candidates. And so, School Board of Education, so we thank them for coming out as well.
All right, thank you, Christian. Good evening. This is our final presentation for the evening. And I want to just ask everybody to just stand for a second and kind of get refreshed for this presentation. We'll wake everybody up. I think we are about ready to begin. And before we begin, I just want to say that education is under attack. Someone mentioned earlier, the Department of Education is under attack. And the school board has taken on increasing importance in our community. And so the people that we elect to school boards are the ones who are leading our community in the nurture and growth of our children. So the candidates that you see before you are very important to our children. This evening, the format for this session is as the others have been. You will have 2 minutes as an introduction to this audience as to who you are, and you will have a minute to respond to questions that we will present, and then you will have 2 minutes in closing to share whatever you choose to share at the end of the presentation. I do need to mention before we begin, though, that one of the candidates, Ms. Alicia Bridgers, was here to meet you, but she had an emergency situation and she had to leave to take care of that. And so that's the reason